Hey everyone! Before we dive into this powerful story, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more tales of heartbreak, triumph, and everything in between. My name is Sarah Coleman, and I'm 26 years old. I never thought the people meant to cherish me most would leave scars so deep I'd have no choice but to walk away for good. That evening at the dinner table in New Haven is seared into my memory like a wound that won't fade. We gathered as a family, and for a fleeting moment, I'd read to hope we were ordinary, that we might share laughter and stories like others do. But then my mother slid a sleek velvet box across the glossy table, her eyes alight with pride. Not for me, but for my younger sister, Lily. When Lily opened it, the room seemed to glow as she held up the keys to a shiny new Tesla. The car sparkled in her imagination, mirrored by the smug tilt off her lips. My mother's smile radiated as if Lily had just earned a global accolade instead of merely finishing school. I sat there, my fork covering over my plate, my stomach twisting into knots. My life had been a grind of late nights and endless hours as an office assistant, scraping by to cover bills and even propping up my father's failing business ledgers. All that sacrifice, and what did I get? Nothing. Lily sailed through college with a free ride, now gifted a luxury car and my mother's endless admiration. My father sipped his wine quietly, letting it all unfold as if it were perfectly normal. When my mother finally glanced at me, her smile faded in an instant. "Sarah," she said in a flat tone, "you owe $200 for rent next month." Those words sliced deeper than I can express. It wasn't just about their money. It was the message behind it. Maffords meant nothing. My devotion was worthless. They made it clear. Lily was the daughter worth celebrating, while I was just the family's cash machine. My face drained of color, my pulse thundering in my ears. I didn't argue. What was there to say? I stood, my chair scraping the floor like something fracturing inside me, and climbed the stairs with trembling hands. In my room, I packed swiftly. Laptop, a few clothes, my phone, no note, no goodbyes. I grabbed the keys to my beat-up Honda, the car I'd kept running through my own grit, and drove off into the night. The Tesla sat in the driveway, a cruel reminder of everything I wasn't. By the time I reached my best friend, Mia's apartment, my tears had hardened into something colder, fiercer. Betrayal has a way of turning grief into fury, and fury into determination. The next morning, sitting on Mia's couch with a cold coffee beside me, a gnawing unease lingered in my gut. That dinner wasn't just unfair. It was a wake-up call. Memories of bank statements I'd glimpsed while helping my father with his real estate books months earlier crept back like shadows. For years, I'd been his unofficial accountant, paying bills, juggling debts, even covering Lily's textbooks when he came up short. Now those memories carried a bitter edge. I logged into the old joint business account, my hands shaking, but my focus sharp. To my shock, my access hadn't been cut off. As transactions filled the screen, my chest tightened until I could hardly breathe. There was a $50,000 withdrawal from 3 years ago, the same year Lily started at Yale, another $20,000 the next year. Smaller sums dotted the timeline, perfectly matching Lily's tuition, her laptop, her summer abroad, her vacations. The total neared $200,000, my money, my future, my grandfather's gift. I had to confirm what my heart already knew. I tracked down James Whitaker, the financial advisor my grandfather trusted before he passed. I recalled meeting him as a child, sitting in Grandpa Thomas's office while he spoke warmly of duty and family. James was retired, but his number was still listed. My hand trembled as I called. His steady voice answered, "James Whitaker." I swallowed hard. "Mr. Whitaker, this is Sarah Coleman, Thomas Bennett's granddaughter." A pause, then to my shock he said, "Sarah, I've been waiting for your call." The world seemed to shift beneath me. He explained that my grandfather had created a $200,000 trust fund for me when I was 10, meant for my education, my future. His words were matter of fact, but to me they were earth-shattering. My father, the trustee, had made those withdrawals illegally. They were theft. James even had a letter in my grandfather's handwriting outlining his wishes. I asked him to send it immediately. Minutes later, the letter appeared on my screen to my beloved Sarah. It began in his precise script. "This trust is for your dreams, your college, your home, your life. Let no one take it from you." My throat tightened, tears burning my eyes. Grandpa had known. He'd seen the favoritism, the silence, the betrayal I'd face. He'd tried to shield me, staring at me as ceiling. The truth settled like a weight in my chest. I'd spent years keeping my family afloat, and all the while my father had siphoned my future to fund Lily's ease. The betrayal wasn't just painful, it was absolute. Mia walked in with fresh coffee, and I showed her the letter. Her eyes widened, her face paling. "What's your next step?" she asked. My jaw tightened. "I'm going to make him repay it." That day I pored over documents, my laptop glowing in Mia's dim apartment. Each bank record was a fresh cut, eroding what little loyalty I had left for my father. $50,000 here, $20,000 there, even $10,000 for Lily's car payments. Smaller sums covered her phone upgrades, her spring break in Cancun, all from the trust meant for me. I wasn't just angry, I was done being their doormat. For years I'd believed keeping the family together was my duty. That love meant sacrifice. That one day they'd see me. But those records showed they'd never seen me, just what they could take. James called back that evening, his voice calm but tinged with empathy. He promised to send every document he had, trust agreements, account statements, even emails from my father requesting withdrawals under false pretenses. When his email arrived, I opened the folder, my heart pounding. The evidence was irrefutable. My father had betrayed not just my grandfather's trust, but every shred of faith I had in him. I slammed the folder down on Mia's coffee table, my hands shaking with rage. He used every penny for her. Pat. Mia scanned the documents, her face twisting in disgust. "Sarah, this isn't just favoritism. It's calculated. He stole your future." She hugged me, her voice fierce. "You don't deserve this. You have to fight back." Her words ignited something inside me. For years, I'd been the problem solver, the silent tone keeping everyone else together. But my father had crossed an unforgivable line. This wasn't just about money. It was about respect, my grandfather's legacy, the life stolen from me. I searched for a Hartford attorney specializing in trusts and estates, and found Michael Reynolds. His website was polished, his photo exuding confidence, his reviews praising his tenacity. Tenacity was exactly what I needed. The next morning, I sat in his sleek downtown office, the folder of evidence heavy in my bag. Michael greeted me with a firm handshake, his voice steady. "Sarah Coleman, tell me what's going on." I laid it all out. My grandfather's trust, the $200,000, my father's withdrawals for Lily's tuition, her trips, her car. I handed him James's documents and he scanned them with narrowed eyes. "This is a blatant breach of fiduciary duty," he said. "As trustee, your father was legally bound to act in your interest. Diverting funds to your sister without your consent is a clear violation. We can sue for restitution and possibly penalties." My chest tightened with both fear and relief. "What do we do next?" I asked. His response was direct. "File a lawsuit, demand a full trust accounting, and seek a court order to recover the funds." For the first time in years, I felt I had power. I handed over every document, and Michael promised to draft the complaint immediately. "It won't be fast," he cautioned. "But your case is strong." I left his office with a clarity that felt almost daunting. My father thought I'd stay silent. The beautiful daughter who never demanded anything. He was mistaken. That night, as Mia painted in the corner of her apartment, I worked on my online graphic design course. My professor had just praised my latest project, a logo for a fictional client, and those words sparked something I hadn't felt in days: hope. I wasn't just fighting for the trust. I was fighting for the life my grandfather envisioned for me. Every font I selected, every color I adjusted, reminded me I could build something of my own. My phone buzzed relentlessly. 5 calls from my mother, 2 from my father, 1 from Lily. I ignored them all. Mom's voicemails were vague pleas to come home. Dad's were sharper, accusing me of stirring trouble. Lily's was just her name, as if that should pull me back. I deleted them without listening further. They'd chosen their side long ago. Over the next week, I gathered more evidence. James sent additional records, including emails where my father requested withdrawals for her family expenses. Every line was a lie. Every dollar went to Lily. I forwarded them to Michael, who confirmed the lawsuit was filed, demanding full restitution. $200 plus interest and legal fees. My pulse raced not from fear, but from resolve. My father had stolen from me, but I was reclaiming it. 3 weeks later, I sat in a Hartford courtroom, my hands clammy as I gripped them tightly in my lap. The room smelled of polished wood and dust, the fluorescent lights humming above. My focus was on the man who'd always claimed to protect me. My father sat across the aisle, jaw clenched, eyes avoiding mine, his lawyer murmuring in his ear. My mother sat beside him, her hands fidgeting, her gaze darting to me with a mix of guilt and desperation. Lily wasn't there, likely too busy with her Tesla to care about the wreckage her life was built on. At the plaintiff's table, Michael stood confident, adjusting his tie like this was routine. But for me, this was my life, my grandfather's legacy, the justice I'd been denied for years. When Michael spoke, his voice was calm but incisive, cutting through the room's silence. Your Honor, my client, Sarah Coleman, was the sole beneficiary of a $200,000 trust fund established by her grandfather, Thomas Bennett, in 2008. Her father, David Coleman, as trustee, diverted those funds solely for his other daughter without Sarah's consent. He held up a stack of documents, his gaze steady. These are bank statements, the trust agreement, and emails from David Coleman requesting withdrawals. Every dollar funded Lily's tuition, her international trips, her luxury car. Meanwhile, Sarah received nothing despite supporting herself and even covering household expenses. Unaware her inheritance was being stolen, the judge, a stern woman with silver hair, leaned forward, studying the evidence. Her eyes met mine briefly, and I sat taller, refusing to look away. Michael detailed each withdrawal. $50,000 for Yale, $20,000 for a Paris program, $10,000 for car insurance, smaller sums for electronics, trips, luxuries. These aren't family expenses, he said firmly. They're targeted, deliberate, and illegal. My father's lawyer stood, adjusting his glasses, his tone smooth but defensive. Your Honor, my client acted in the family's best interest. The fund stabilized the household, ensuring both daughters had opportunities. This was a mismanagement. It was a father's duty. My chest burned with anger, but Michael responded swiftly. If that's true, why do we have an email from David Coleman to James Whitaker in 2020 explicitly requesting funds for Lily's education? He held it up for the court. No mention of Sarah, no consent from the beneficiary. No effort to inform her of her rights. The room fell silent. My mother's face palled and she mouthed, "I'm sorry," across the aisle. Too late. Sorry didn't undo the nights I'd stayed up paying bills, the vacations I'd never taken, the years I'd poured into a family that discarded me. The judge called my father to the stand. He walked with forced confidence, shoulders squared, as if he could still talk his way out. His voice was measured, rehearsed. I thought I was doing right by my family. The trust was family money. I used it to keep us afloat. Michael's cross-examination was relentless. Did Sarah Coleman consent to these withdrawals? Silence. My father's eyes flickered with fear for the first time. No, he admitted. I handled it myself. The courtroom stilled, that single word echoing heavily. He'd never asked me, never even considered me. The judge took notes, her face impassive. Michael presented the final evidence, a notarized letter from James Whitaker confirming my grandfather's intent. The words burned in my mind. This trust is for Sarah's education, her future, her life. My mother stood abruptly, her voice shaking. Sarah, please, we didn't mean to hurt you. We were helping Lily keep her dreams alive. Can't you forgive us? Her tears fell, but I kept my eyes on the judge. This wasn't about forgiveness. It was about justice, about reclaiming what was stolen. The judge exhaled and delivered her ruling with finality. Based on the evidence, I find David Coleman guilty of breach of fiduciary duty. The court orders restitution of $200,000 to Sarah Coleman plus $25,000 in punitive damages for willful misconduct. Mr. Coleman will also cover all legal fees. Your actions violated trust law. My father's face went ashen, his mouth opening soundlessly. My mother gasped, clutching his arm as if to steady him. I sat still, my heart racing, but my body steady for the first time in years. The gavel fell, shattering years of betrayal. The trust was mine again. Not just the money, but the faith my grandfather had in me. Michael turned to me, a faint smile on his lips. We did it, Sarah. You won. I nodded, my voice quiet but firm. Thank you for everything. As we left the courtroom, my mother reached for me, her hands trembling. Sarah, please. We're still family. We can fix this. I stepped back, my voice unwavering. You made your choice. All of you did. My father called my name, but I didn't look back. I walked out of the courthouse, head high, where Mia waited, her grin wide as she hugged me. You crushed it, didn't you? She whispered. I took a deep breath, the weight lifting from my chest. They're paying back every cent, I said. Plus more. Outside, the autumn air felt crisp, clean, as if Hartford itself had shifted with the gavel strike. I climbed into Mia's car, her laughter warm as she squeezed my hand. You got what they owed you, she said. For the first time in years, I let myself smile. It wasn't a triumphant grin, but something quieter, heavier, a mix of relief and sorrow. Winning didn't erase the fact that my own parents sat across from me. My mother pleading, my father crumbling under the truth. But it was justice, and that was enough. The weeks that followed blurred into paperwork, meetings, and silence from my family. Michael confirmed the restitution, and damages were processed. $225,000 now rightfully mine. It was more than money. It was my grandfather's promise restored. I used part of it for a down payment on a cozy one-bedroom apartment in Hartford's West End with a small balcony and morning light that danced across the walls. I still remember unlocking the door for the first time, the key cold in my hand, stepping into the empty living room. The silence wasn't lonely, it was freedom. Maya helped me move in, hauling boxes up the narrow stairs, joking about her gym membership finally earning its keep. We painted the walls a soft gray, hung fairy lights by the balcony door, and set up a small office corner for my laptop and sketchbooks. Holding a paint roller, sweat on my brow, I felt something rare. Pride. This wasn't my parents' house. Heavy with expectations, this was mine. Earned through my fight, my resilience. I dove into freelance work with a new kind of hunger. My graphic design course ended with high praise from my professor who urged me to build a portfolio. I did assembling logo designs, website mockups, and branding packages. Within days of posting on a freelance platform, I got a message from Rachel, who owned a bakery called Hearth and Grain. "I love your style," she wrote. "Can you rebrand my shop? Logo, menu, maybe a website?" Walking into Hearth and Grain, the scent of fresh croissants enveloped me like a warm embrace. Rachel, with her keen eyes and easy laugh, handed me a coffee and shared her vision. Modern yet cozy, professional yet welcoming. As she spoke, I sketched ideas on a napkin, lines flowing effortlessly. She laughed at the rough draft. "You're hired," she said, grinning. It was the first time someone saw me not as a tool, not as a shadow in someone else's story, but as someone whose work was worth celebrating. Back in my apartment, I worked late, perfecting her logo, tweaking colors, refining fonts. Each design felt like a step toward the future I was building. My phone buzzed constantly. 35 missed calls over 2 weeks. 20 from my mother, 10 from my father, 5 from Lily. Their voicemails range from pleas to accusations. "You're tearing us apart. We just need to talk. Sarah, it's Lily." I deleted them all. They'd torn the family apart long ago when they decided I was expendable. I wasn't their fixer anymore. The more I worked, the more alive I felt. Rachel loved my drafts, calling them exactly what I wanted. She introduced me to her team, shared her summer menu plans, and our meetings grew into friendship. We'd sit in a corner booth sipping lattes, swapping stories about late nights or failed baking attempts. She joined the small circle of people who chose me for me, not for what I could give. Mia remained my rock, showing up with Thai takeout, joking when the weight of it all threatened to return. Together, they showed me family could be chosen, built, loved. Yet late at night, the past still lingered. The image of Lily twirling her Tesla key haunted me. Not from envy, but as a symbol of the years I'd wasted trying to earn a place in a family that didn't value me. My father's cold demand foreign. My mother's silence at that table replayed in my mind. On those nights, I'd reread my grandfather's letter tucked in my desk drawer. "This trust is for your dreams. Don't let anyone take it from you." Each time I felt stronger, sure that leaving was right. 2 months after the ruling, my apartment buzzed with laughter and music. Maya insisted on throwing me a birthday party, saying 27 deserved a proper celebration. She hung fairy lights. Across my balcony door, blasted indie rock and ordered a cake from Rachel's bakery. Iced with my name and elegant script. Friends filled the room, freelance colleagues. Mia's art circle. The air hummed with chatter, clinking glasses, and the scent of Thai food and cupcakes mingling with the city breeze. When Rachel arrived with cupcakes topped with tiny sugar flowers, she grinned like we'd been friends forever. "On the house," she said, setting them on my counter. "You're my favorite client." I laughed, handing her a soda only because I pay on time. She winked that, "and you make my bakery shine." Her words sank deep. People were starting to seem, not as the silent caretaker, but as someone worth celebrating. Later, Mia raised a glass, her eyes glowing under the lights. "To Sarah for building a life that's hers." The cheer that followed wrapped around me like armor. I felt a warmth I hadn't known in years. The kind that comes from being chosen, from belonging. These people weren't bound by duty, but by choice. And that made them a true family. After the guests left, Mia stayed to clean, stacking plates in the sink. "You look truly happy tonight," she said softly. I paused, holding a half-empty glass. "I am," I admitted, saying it felt odd, but true. She hugged me, whispering, "You deserve it." For once, I believed her. Alone later, I pulled my grandfather's letter from the drawer. The paper was worn, think steady. This trust is for your dreams. Don't let anyone take it from you. I traced the words, my throat tight. He'd know me better than anyone. Seen my worth before I did? Folding the letter, I tucked it away. It wasn't just money he'd left. It was faith, a belief I was worth fighting for, and I'd proven him right. My freelance work flourished. Word spread from Rachel's bakery to a coffee shop needing a poster, then to a nonprofit wanting a branding package. My office corner overflowed with sketches, color palettes, and client notes. Each project was a brick in my new life. I bought a second monitor, a proper chair, a shelf of design books. It was small but mine, and no one could take it. I heard whispers about my family. A bookstore acquaintance said my father's real estate business was collapsing. Clients left after the lawsuit. His reputation ruined, his office gone. He felt a flicker of pity, but it faded. He'd made his choices, stolen from me without remorse. Those consequences were his. Lily had moved to Boston, working in a small marketing firm. Her Tesla sold when her lifestyle outstripped her privileges. She was starting over, but without owning her part. My mother's name still appeared on my phone, but it never answered. Their words held no weight. They'd had years to choose me and didn't. Her last email begged for a chance to explain. I deleted it unread. Closure came from standing on my own, building a life where their betrayal no longer defined me. One evening, Mia stopped by with her sketchbook, excited about a community center mural. We spread our work across my balcony table, city lights twinkling below. She paused, glancing at me. Do you ever think about them? I shaded her drawing, my voice steady. Sometimes, but not like before. They're not my story anymore. She smiled softly. You're writing a better one. I leaned back, gazing at Hartford's glowing skyline. She was right. My story wasn't about betrayal anymore. It was about resilience, carving a life that was mine, finding strength in the ruins. My grandfather's words echoed, "You are enough." For the first time, I knew they were true. Thank you for listening to Sarah's story of betrayal, justice, and renewal. If you found inspiration in her journey, don't forget to subscribe to Vengeance Within for more stories that explore the depths of pain and the heights of resilience.